Welcome to Forgotten Coast Fishing. We're going to be taking the grady out today. I've got my son Steven with me. Steven, you ready to go fishing?
Yeah.
What are we going to catch today? 11 trout. We're going offshore. Maybe something else. What do you think? Some beeliners? How about some red snapper? Oh no, no red snapper?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get out and kind of fish some of our nearshore reefs. It's one of our precious days here to keep red snapper, so that's going to be our first target. My setup for these free lines, this is a Penn Slammer 7500 reel, and this is a Shimano Talus PX extra heavy rod. And I've got 60-pound mono here. This is a 7/0 circle hook, and this is 50-pound braid. All right, and like you've seen me do many times with these cigar minnows, I'm gonna take this hook and I'm gonna go up under the head and kind of out the top. There's a nice hard spot right there you can kind of get into, and it'll hold a little better. Now I think our reef, there's several of them. I think we're right on top of them, but there's kind of a cluster over here. So really, for a lack of better places to just throw it randomly, I'm gonna just toss that out over there. I'm gonna set my drag kind of loosely so we don't tear up anything. And then over here for this setup, this is a little bit lighter setup. This is a Penn Battle 6000, and I've got 80-pound mono in this one, which seems kind of backwards, but this is just kind of how I had it set up for something else. When I have to re-rig, I might go to 60, or if I find out that this 80 is not really grabbing anything, I might go ahead and go down. But this is a Shimano Talus PX heavy rod, and this is a 40-pound braid. All right, while I've got these free lines set out, they're just gonna kind of float out there and kind of eventually slowly sink. And sometimes those red snapper, the bigger ones anyway, will kind of hang up kind of a midways up or kind of off the reef, and hopefully that's what we grab with those. While we wait for that to happen, I'm gonna set out this double drop rig. This is 60-pound leader, and these are 6/0 circle hooks. I'm gonna take some of this kind of older ballyhoo that I have, and I'm just gonna kind of put a chunk of that on here, and maybe we can grab a kind of a bigger, nicer size snapper on the bottom. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah. So this is that bigger piece of cut bait. Yeah, we got something nice here, Steven. Oh, check him out. You gonna help me reel? Oh, he's a good one. Oh man, he's a good one. Check him out. Oh, you got him? All right, reel. All right, let's get over here and see what we've got. All right, this is not a trigger fish, I hope, or if it is, it's a big one. But hopefully this is a keeper red snapper. We get 2 per person. Oh yeah, it is a red snapper, and it is a nice one. Check him out, Steven. All right, first drop of the day, everybody. And we get a nice keeper size snapper on the bottom. Just what I was hoping to do. This is kind of the size I was thinking we would get kind of on the bottom, because typically ones even bigger than this will grab the free lines. So like I said, we can keep 2 per person. So with Steven and I both on board today, we can grab 4 of these guys. We'll get a quick weight on him on this boga. He's about right at 4 pounds, maybe 4.5. We've got one nice one right here. So let's check out pinch. Oh man. Oh, we got to get this off in a second. We know he's a keeper. Oh man. All right. Oh geez. All right, Steven, I think we even got a better one. All right. We know that one's a keeper, so it doesn't matter that he's on the deck there because he's going in the box. We just need to get a measurement, but I don't know that it really matters because we know he's over 16. But this guy is a nice one. We may have our 2 keeper snapper halfway there in just about 10 minutes of fishing. Here he comes up. Oh yeah, he's a snapper. I see the red, I see the orange. All right, come on, snapper. He looks like he's maybe the same size as we got here, maybe a touch bigger. All right. Oh, he wasn't ready to go. Oh man, I get so afraid of losing fish. Once I see them, but not this one. We got him. Check him out. He is a little bigger than another one. We have 2 keeper red snapper in 2 drops and about 10 minutes of fishing. Holy cow, look at this already, everybody. Man, what a day this is starting out to be. What do you think, Stephen? You were right about the red snapper. All right, well, this is the first one. Let's get him measured and in the box. Pinch the tail. Man, these guys do not want to be still for me. All right, pinch the tail, and he's 20. This dude's right at 20. We'll cover him up in a second. This guy's probably about 22 inches. Yep, he's about, 22, just like I was thinking. Tomorrow, we've got our Tennessee Chuck Red Snapper Invitational Tournament. So one of the things I was wanting to do today, besides having a good time here with Stephen, was kind of jot some notes down for tomorrow if I caught some red snapper. So we're on our way to doing that as well. But let's get these guys in the box and buried on ice. Oh, here we go. All right. Got him, Stephen. You wanna try to, oh man, he's got some weight to him. You gonna reel? Help me hold it. Yep, here he comes. Let's go see what he is. Oh, he's a big one. Keep reeling, Stephen. Oh, it's gonna be a beeliner. If it is, it's a real big one. It may be some kind of record if it is. Here, let me have it back so I can go over here and bring this fish in, because I think he's almost to the surface. Here he comes. Yeah, it's gotta be a red snapper. Gotta be a red snapper, it is. Red snapper. Think he's gonna be a keeper too. Red snapper number 3, everybody. This is our second drop on this double drop rig. We got that nice one on the first one. We got this second one on the second drop. Free lines haven't popped off again. Probably need to check the bait on it, but let's get this guy off and in the box. He's probably about 18 inches maybe. All right, so let's see if he's 18 like I'm thinking. Get that tail pinched. Oh, he's 18 and a half. Check him out. All right, another red snapper. Beautiful red snapper. What do you think, Stephen? Should he go in the box?
Yeah.
Of course he should, because he is number 3, and we get one more here. Oh, here we go again, Stephen. All right, you want to get him again? You gonna help me with the rod? There you go. All right, he's another nice one. Oh, it's gonna be a trout? I don't know. They say white trout come in here in the winter. I'm not sure if it's a white trout, but it may be a beeliner or a snapper. Let's see. I don't think he's gonna be as big as the snapper we have in the box, if that's what he is. Let's go over here and see what he is. Let's see. Oh, it's a smaller red snapper. Look at him. Oh, I'm getting tangled up in everything. Look at him. Now he's too short. We wouldn't want to keep him anyway if he did measure out to be 16, but a nice little red snapper. All right, since we're throwing this guy back, I can see his stomach kind of protruding out of his mouth a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and vent him before we get him down. And I've got this little vent tool. I'm gonna go behind the pectoral fin, kind of go in between some scales, and just do a little shallow puncture. And see, that's gonna get all that air out so they can get back down. There you go, snapper. Yep, dove straight down. All right, our fishing has kind of slowed a little bit. It's been, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes since we caught that last fish. I'm getting some bites here on a double drop rig. Feels like it's smaller one kind of stealing those baits, but I'm gonna kind of switch it up a little bit just to do something a little different. I've got this little piece of cut bonita here, and I'm gonna put this on one hook, and I've still got this cut piece of ballyhoo on the lower one, just to see if that makes any kind of difference. But maybe anyway, this bonita might trigger a snapper bite. Oh, here we go. All right, here's the big one. Oh man, geez, oh, he got off. Well, that was encouraging anyway. Maybe that bonita was the trick there, because those were some nice thumps and some nice fish, and we had a really big one, probably the biggest one on the bottom so far. Yeah, that's the one they were after. The top hook is broken, and that's where we had that bonita. So I'm gonna re-rig this up. Okay, so I re-rigged. This is just that same setup, 60-pound mono leader with 6/0 circle hooks and this 6-ounce sinker at the bottom. So we'll drop this down and see if, you know, that bonita really does make a difference. He's trying to go. Oh, here we go. All right, here he goes. Oh man, this is a nice one. All right, let's see if we can get him in before that dolphin shows up. Yeah, this is definitely a nice one. I have no idea what it is either. Oh, he got off. Dang, man. Let's see if he broke everything. Now this is 60-pound mono, so it should be able to hold it, but if he got into that reef, which I think he did because we're pretty much sitting right on top of it, there's not much you can do when they get down there. Look at this. This is just totally frayed. But yeah, we lost everything. Oh, this is actually above the swivel. This is on my top shot, and that's 60-pound too. So let's try to re-rig up something, see if we can grab whatever that is, because that is nice. All right, so I've got a new setup. I've got 80-pound leader making up another double drop rig, and I made it longer kind of at the top because that's where it got chafed last time and broke. So maybe this kind of helps us bring it in. Oh, okay, here we go. All right, we got him this time. Oh yeah, all right, we got him this time. Let's see if I can reel him up off that reef. Well, I've got a little momentum. All right, I think we're away now. All right, what is he gonna be? Giving out on me right now a little bit. Oh, it's our fourth snapper. All right, everybody, we've limited out on snapper. Now, he's not the biggest one that we got, and maybe this wasn't what was grabbing it earlier, because what was grabbing it earlier felt bigger. I was thinking maybe it was an amberjack, but nonetheless, he's definitely 16 inches, maybe 17 or 18. So Stephen and I have limited out on red snapper here even before lunch. So let's get this guy off and in the box. All right, let's just check him to be sure. Yeah, he's almost 17. A solid 16 and a half, almost 17-inch snapper. Well, we're gonna put this guy in the box. All right, one of the beauties of this Grady is we've got this forward bunk galley area. So we can wash our hands here at the sink with some fresh water. We got a little ice box right here. Got a toilet over here that pumps out. We got some beds, we got a stove here. This actually makes out to a berth. This folds up and you have a bunk bed kind of thing. And of course we've got the cushions to fill in this gap here, and this makes a berth for Ruth and I. So we've slept on this before. I'll leave a link down in our description down of our trip where we slept on this thing. But for today, we're just gonna kind of relax for a second and have our lunch. All right, we're gonna go ahead and head on back. Man, what a great day getting out here with Stephen and limited out on red snapper on top of that. But we're gonna get home and clean these fish, and we'll see you there. All right, we're gonna go ahead and clean up this big snapper that we got. And I'm gonna be using two knives, both by sword. This is a 7-inch flexi, and then I'm also gonna use their 9-inch serrated. So how I'm gonna start out, I'm gonna go ahead and use this serrated knife to get this head off and just to kind of get through this skin. As these snapper get bigger, you know, they get some bigger scales and that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna kind of find where that gill plate ends and just kind of make that typical cut through down to the belly. And then I like to go ahead and kind of slit just through the skin on both sides. And when I do this top side, I like to start kind of where this tail meets the body and just kind of follow that just on the other side of these fins. And then we're just making a slit through the skin. We're not trying to go too far through the meat. Okay, and once we have the slits through the skin, I'm gonna take the 7-inch knife and I'm just gonna kind of go down the flesh, just kind of following the top of those bones that connect to the backbone. All right, then flip it over and you're gonna do the same thing to the other side. Your knife will kind of tell you where to go because you can see the bones right there. And once I get through to the backbone on both sides. I'm gonna take this knife, lay it on top of this backbone, and just go all the way out through the tail just like that. And the next step is probably the trickiest part to this. You've got to get this skin off these rib bones, and this rib cage kind of goes up and over, so you're just gonna have to let your knife kind of follow that up and over until you get to the back of the skin. And once you see the back of the skin like this, you can go ahead and make your cut just to get that skin cut. And I used the serrated one again. So there we go. So you can see right there, you can see how high that is. All right, to get this skin off, I get the fillet as close to the edge of the board as I can. Now, one thing I always kind of take into consideration when doing these snapper, they do have quite a bit of bloodline on the underside between the meat and the skin. So what you can do to kind of minimize that is don't get your knife flat against the skin. Raise it up just a little bit and you'll kind of cut some of that bloodline out. And how I do that, I put my hand behind my knife and follow it, and I can sort of feel how much meat I'm leaving on that skin. And there we go. So you can see how some of it was left on the skin right here. Here we kind of did it a little too close, but see, that was all cut out, and see, you really don't have that much out. Now, when you get ready to cook it, if you want to, you can kind of slice this out if you want to get rid of that. Now, the last step is you're gonna want to get these bones out. If you have any, they're gonna be in two places typically. Right here where the rib cage was and the belly was, and that's simple to get off. Now this right here, you typically are gonna have some bones to about right here, right where this backbone was. So what I like to do is take my knife and just kind of make kind of a shallow V to the middle where you kind of see that backbone was. Cut that off and you've typically gotten all the bones out. All right, so then the last step is I'm gonna just kind of feel around just to kind of make sure we got all those bones. And we did. So we're gonna do the same thing to this other side and to the rest of the red snapper, and we'll see you in the kitchen. For these recipes that I've shown you on the channel before, I've tried to show the ones that either I've created or my family has created, or maybe some unique ones that you might not find somewhere else. But tonight I'm gonna show you sort of our go-to standard recipe that we like to use for this red snapper. It's super easy and super simple, and with this fresh fish, it's super tasty. So our first step is I've got some nice olive oil in this cast iron pan heating up over medium heat. While that's heating up, we're gonna go ahead and salt our fish. Now we've just lightly dried this just a little bit. And then our next spice, and really the only other spice we're gonna use, is this Chef Paul Prudhomme Seafood Magic. Now we love this stuff. It's got a nice Cajun taste to it, but it's not too spicy. So I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle some of this on this top side, and then once we get this into the pan, we'll season the other side. All right, so our olive oil has started to smoke a little bit, so we're gonna go ahead and get our fish in. All right, now that we have some white starting to form around the edges and on the thinner parts of the fish, I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. And that took about 3 minutes on that side. All right, so it's been another 3 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and get these off. You can tell it's done. It's kind of starting to firm up, but it's still moist. All right, so our last step is to make the sauce. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this pan off the heat, and I've turned my heat off. We're gonna let this cool a little bit before we make our sauce. All right, so I've turned my heat up to low and got the pan back on the heat, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this butter in and kind of let this melt. And as this is melting, I'm gonna go ahead and scrape all this goodness off the bottom of the pan. All right, so next we're gonna go ahead and add this kind of pre-made garlic here. We like this stuff a lot. You can keep it in your refrigerator and you can kind of have it on hand whenever you need it. And I'm gonna put, not a whole lot, maybe about a clove's worth. There we go. And we're just basically just kind of heating up this garlic a little bit, slightly cooking it a little bit, kind of infusing this butter with that garlic flavor. So we're gonna let this go maybe 30 seconds to a minute or something like that. We don't want to overcook it and burn that garlic. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and get this off the heat and into this cup here. We're gonna go ahead and get this plated up. Then just sort of top with this sauce. And that's all there is to it. Very simple recipe. Steven, do you want to try a bite?
Yeah.
All right.
Go.
Well, you hadn't tried it yet.
Go.
What do you think?
Go.
All right, well, I got Steven's approval. Well, Steven and I are gonna sit down and have our dinner. But if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss my future videos. So until next time, hope to see you on another episode of Forgotten Coast Fishing.